Hello, hello. May peace and blessings be with you. It is my pleasure today to be here with the super awesome Nailea Large from Sunflower Financials. Nailea, welcome.
Thank you. Excited to be here.
It's so awesome that I get to finally sit down with you and we're going to talk about some popular business tax deductions that entrepreneurs should know about. But before we go there, I'm going to have you briefly introduce yourself. I know that you provide fractional CFO and tax services, but if you want to elaborate on that and even talk about how did you land with this field, what inspired you to go into it, that would be great.
Absolutely. So I'm a first generation American. My parents came from Cuba on a boat in 1980, and my entire life we were entrepreneurs, the whole family, basically helping with the family business, whatever it was. From age 8, I was packing chips and chocolate bars into vending machines. I was selling them around my neighborhood. That was my parents' business, so it was the whole family's business. And then they did a factory with clothing. They did so many different businesses and working on houses, fixing houses. So I had so much exposure to just making it work and into finances, to making, having to make money in order to pay the bills. And I think that exposure early on and that involvement with my dad was a really big proponent into me getting into finance. I was lucky enough to have my very first official job. I've had a job forever, right? My very first job in high school was as a teller at a bank. And it was an internship. It was back with Washington Mutual when they existed. And it was so amazing. That moment is when I knew that I wanted to get into finance. And I'm one of those rare people that went to college for what they wanted and actually worked in what they wanted. I didn't switch my majors. It was just finance. I always had a passion. I knew that's what I wanted. And that's what I went for. So, and I've always loved it my whole career. I've worked in accounting. I've worked in audit. I've worked in billing and accounts receivable, accounts payable. I've managed dozens of people onshore and offshore. And it's just been a huge adventure for me. And I love every aspect of finances. My favorite thing that I feel like my calling or my blessing is to interpret complex things and make them simple. And I help to do that for particularly immigrants, people from other countries that are new to the business world, the economics in this country. And so that's, how I got to where I am. I just love helping people understand their financial statements and how that helps them drive their business. So, and on the side, I love taxes. I'm kind of an IRS nerd. It's fun for me. It's really fun for me to dive in and feel like I'm figuring out a code. It's like a secret code.
Yeah. Nailea, you definitely have a passion for it. And it's so cool to learn that you had a passion for it even at a young age. And I think that early experience with entrepreneurship and dabbling into that, I think totally helps and totally, helps us figure out where we want to go and what we want to do when we grow up. And I'm so excited for you that you are doing what you love and what you've had a passion for. I know that you also create content in 2 languages, right? Spanish and English. Do you want to talk about that a little bit?
Yeah. I have really been focusing on creating content in Spanish more so lately than English. I do have my YouTube channel in English. But more so, I've really been pushing on in Spanish because I really see a need in the Latin community for understanding those complex financial terms and how they can actually apply to your business. And that's really what I like to do in English and in Spanish. Like, I'm so tired of people saying, oh, open a family management company. What does that even mean? How do you even do that? Oh, deposit money into your Roth. What are you talking about, right? Like, I like to really get into the step 1, Google this. Step 2, go to this website. Step 3, do this. So I'm very educational in how I like to do things. And I'm really having a lot of fun kind of diving into doing it more in Spanish right now.
That's awesome. I love it. Okay. So I just want to see if you have like a particular type of person or business that you absolutely love working with. If you want to just tell us a little bit about that. I know in our like business lingo, we say ideal client, but who are you energized by working with?
Yeah, so I'm most energized by working with LLCs and S corporations. I am the most jazzed about established businesses that want to grow, that maybe see revenue come in but don't see profits, that want to merge or buy other businesses. So I'm really, I get most energized by those clients whose revenue are like 2 million a year and above, 2 to 10 million a year. Those are the ones that I get to have the most fun with because we get to really project into the future and move forward. But I also love to work with, under like $100,000 to $500,000 a year if you're ready to grow and move to the next level. I'm very growth oriented and goal oriented. So those are my favorite kind of people to work with.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. And I love that you move at such a fast pace in whatever you go into. So that is so fantastic. Okay. So tell me, what is something exciting that's happening in life right now? Is it a project or is there a initiative that you're working on that's getting excited?
Wait, business related or?
And it could be anything. Take it wherever you want to take it.
Okay. Because as I was thinking, I was like, I'm very crafty. And before children, BC, Nailea, which was 6 years ago, I was doing a lot of glass blowing. And finally, I'm getting back into my glass blowing, breaking out my torch and trying to set it up in my garage and all this kind of stuff. So it's totally a 180, but that's what came to the top of my mind because I'm looking up things that I need and oxygen tank and all this stuff. And I have all this beautiful glass that I can melt into beautiful things. And I'm just very excited about that. So that's totally random, but that's something that I love to do.
Awesome. I would love to see some of those pieces. And I think that is so important because I think just like you all day long, I also feel like I get to use my left brain a lot more, right? Because we're all into like technical things, problem solving and all of that. But at the end of the day, having something that really engages the right brain, I think is so cool. And it also, I think, kind of like relaxes us and we're able to be even more creative. I think our creative side comes out even more when we allow ourselves to do that. So recently I got into poetry. I don't know how that happened. That was like totally random, but I became inspired and I started writing, and I am writing in Urdu, which is, my first language, but I don't really speak that on a daily basis. But out of nowhere, 20 years later, like I think I've probably not written Urdu in probably 2 decades. So 2 decades later, I am writing, and I'm writing in Urdu, and it is totally random, but I love it. And it really engages that, right brain for me. And
I feel like there's some kind of like a deep understanding when that's your first language. Like it's kind of funny because if I think back on times in my life when I've been like injured, like hurt, like I played lacrosse in high school and stuff, and I got hurt one time and the ball hit my face. I spoke in Spanish as soon as I got hurt. Like, it's so funny. You like when I'm feeling something deep, really deep, and I don't speak in Spanish every day, one with my mom, but when it's a deep, deep feeling, it comes out in Spanish. So I understand that, like, that poetry, that's so deep, right? It could be more, I don't know, fluent in Urdu, right?
Yeah. It rhymes. It's like beautiful. I'm just like, I don't even know where this is coming from. My mom's like,
That's awesome.
Like, I didn't know you even knew these words. And I was like, I didn't either.
Aw, that's awesome.
So it's pretty fun. Okay. So before we dive into talking about the most popular business hacks, deductions, tell me the scoop behind Sunflower Financials. How did you come up with the name?
Okay, so Sunflowers, my husband, who yesterday we celebrated our dating anniversary. You know, we have 2 anniversaries, dating anniversary. We've been dating for 22 years, since 9th grade in high school. And he's always been, so we're super high school sweethearts. He's always been into gardening and everything and flowers. And he's always, he's a poet, he loves to write and everything. And so he always planted me sunflowers. He knows it's my favorite summer flower. And I love the sunflower because it's always reaching for the stars. It's always looking for the sky. It's always searching for the sun. It turns in a day. You can see it turning. looking for the sun every single day, no matter how dreary the day is. And that's something that helps me to remember when I'm having a rough day, I have to keep looking for the sun, keep looking for the light. And that's really the power of sunflowers for me. And that's it.
I love it. I did not know this and I love it. I'm so glad you shared that. Okay. All right, friend, hit us with it. What are some of the tax deductions that we should know about?
So one of the things that came to mind when we talked about doing this podcast was that, you know, a lot of your main avatar is online creators, right? And coaches. And something that I think that a lot of coaches don't remember to tell people is that their services are tax deductible. Right? So it's kind of flipping it. It's like, hey, you know, this costs XYZ. Don't forget, you can expense this as an educational expense at the end of the year. So that can often be, you know, a big amount, a big sum, a couple $1,000s, a couple $100, whatever the case is. Even if it's $47 for a course, that client, that person, the customer can expense that on their tax return. So I really I was like, I got to say this. And then on the flip side, for you as the business owner, you know, a lot of us are working from home. This is my home. This is my office, right? And I get to expense my home office deduction. So the square footage of my home office that I use exclusively for my business is tax deductible. And what that means is, and trying not to get too numbers, but if the square footage of my office is 10% of the square footage of my house, then I can deduct 10% of my internet bill, 10% of my electric bill, 10% of my utilities, because I need all of those utilities to make this work. If I didn't have an internet, I wouldn't be able to talk to you right now. So I can expense my monthly internet by the amount of space that I have that I'm working in. And so I have a freebie that you can link where what I did that for was so that everyone can go ahead and put in all of their home expenses and put in the square footage of your home office and square footage of your home, and it'll calculate it for you. And all you have to do is fill it out and give it to whoever's doing your tax return. And then they will know what to do with that. It's actually going to make their life so much easier. So by all means, get in there. It's December. Put in all of go to your bank account and put in everything that you paid for Spectrum or whatever your internet is. And, and that's going to save you so much money. And it'll tell you what your tax deduction is going to be at the top too of the spreadsheet. So it's a really neat little form.
Mm-hmm. Nailea, thank you so much for sharing both of those. So I love the first one that you shared because it's so interesting. I know that we can be telling people that, but we don't, right? It doesn't come out in our marketing. I'm just like, if I say that, hire me and you can deduct this on your tax return. I think that helps people, right? I guess they're not thinking about that. So thank you for that tip. I really like that. And speaking of the home office deduction, there's one thing that I was telling my husband. We're joking about this. So my office is on the second floor. It's like an extension of our bedroom. And I, a lot of times, I'm working long hours and I forget to go downstairs to get water. So it is somebody's job to make sure I always have bottles of water around me. And if I run out, then it's such a nuisance that I have to get up and walk downstairs to go get it. So I was telling my husband, I'm like, I'm going to just get a water service. I'm just going to have water delivered to my office on the second floor. I'm like, when we're in an office, we have things like that,
Well, I will tell you, I'll give you another, I wasn't planning on saying this one, but you can pay your kid to bring you water. That's a legitimate job, right? That's a legitimate job. And the biggest thing with any tax deduction and with anything you're doing in your business related to the IRS is documentation. Mm-hmm. If you put it on a spreadsheet, you say, okay, John, son one, he's getting paid to bring me water, to pick up staples off the floor, to staple things, to file them away, to save images on my computer, whatever. If you can use a computer, let's say they're, that maybe they're in my pictures on Instagram, maybe they're in my pictures on Facebook or whatever, flyers. All of these things are legitimate work that a child can do, right? And as long as it's all well documented and you're paying them a reasonable wage, so you can't pay a kid $500 for bringing you water, right? Mm-hmm. So it's got to be a reasonable wage. As long as it's reasonable, then there are so many benefits to that. You don't have to pay payroll taxes for that child under 18, right? You don't have to pay payroll taxes for that kid. You can open an investment savings account for that child, and you're going to start making them money now and investing that money now, and that'll grow to later. I have videos to detail what I'm talking about more in my channel, but I love what you said. You have a need.
Mm-hmm.
You might have somebody to fill it, and you can benefit on your taxes with that as well.
Mm-hmm. I love that. Thank you. Okay, so Nailea, I just want to point out that I am sharing the link at the bottom of our video here. That is the link if you want to grab the guide that basically talks about the savings that you can have. That's fantastic. Okay. What else, friend? What else should we be thinking about?
So there's another pretty huge deduction right now that's actually due to expire in 2025, and it's called the QBI deduction, or qualified business income deduction, that goes from a sole proprietor to an S corporation. So sole proprietor just means if you're just you and you're just selling stuff, you can actually get the qualified business income. And oftentimes, unfortunately, a tax preparer will forget to include this. So I urge everyone to write that down and remember maybe just the 3 letters QBI, but it's qualified business income. And what it does is it reduces your income by 20%. So that's a really huge deduction the IRS has granted us for quite a while now. Unfortunately, it's due to expire. I'm hoping that it will renew, but I don't know. Just got to keep up with the news. But for this year and next year, we should be able to still get that deduction, which is honestly, it's a huge benefit. It benefits all of my clients and myself greatly every year. So yeah, that was the other one that I wanted to talk about.
Mm-hmm. Nailea, how do you tell people to document all of their expenses and things like that? Do you have like a recommendation for that?
Yeah, so I would definitely say if you are making between 0 and 10,000 a year, then you break out a Google sheet and you don't spend money, right? Because you're pinching pennies, and you're making sure that you can export the transactions on your business bank account. The number one thing is to separate your personal and your business expenses. If you do this, you will be in a very good position forever. And I mean truly, truly separate. So like I said, if you're making less than 10,000 a year, then you're just have your business bank account. You want to have expenses or whatnot on a Google sheet. You can use something free that you use for personal, like if you have Mint or whatever equivalent, personal app. If you're making more money and you need to stay organized, so I highly recommend something like QuickBooks or Xero or some kind of bookkeeping platform. And honestly, a bookkeeper, an accountant, a bookkeeper is your friend. People sometimes don't want to make the jump and expense then use that. By the way, that's a tax deduction to spend on your accounting. But it's so necessary because at the end of the year, you don't want to be scrambling, figuring out what your expenses are and how much you're going to pay in taxes. You don't know how many times I get a phone call this time of year. How much am I going to pay in taxes? So, I don't know. Do you have an accounting? Do you have, your QuickBooks? Do you have anything? No, I don't have anything. I'm like, well, you're still going to pay the whole year's worth, for someone to clean things up and put it in a proper format for your taxes. So you might as well just do the month to month, and get somebody that you trust and that listens to your goals and what you want out of your business, so that they could work with you to do your taxes. And that's part of what I do in my firm is we do accounting for people. So I don't just do CFO services, which is looking at high level and financials. I do have a part of my firm that does accounting. So we have about 25 businesses right now that we do the accounting for. So that's the month-to-month books. That's the lower level categorizing transactions, sending the statements and explaining what we see to the clients. And that really, really helps because these are clients that are making maybe $100,000 or less a year. And so that's really helpful. So we do have that service. I'm happy to talk to anybody about that.
Okay, awesome. Good to know. I love it. I have some more questions. Believe it or not, I actually prepared a few. And pretty much whenever I do these things, I love doing like a rapid fire round of questions. It's just fun, that we don't think about anything too long, but whatever comes to mind, we just go for it. Okay. So who's your favorite celebrity?
Oh my God. This is hard. Okay, I'm just thinking music. Mary J. Blige is probably my favorite artist.
Okay. Favorite dessert?
Churros.
Okay.
That's easy.
Okay. Nailea, what energizes you on a day-to-day basis?
My kids.
Mm.
I love being a mom. I did it on purpose. That's what I tell people. I'm like, I'm here for this. I gave birth to these 2 children and I'm here for this till the end. I love it.
Awesome. How old are they?
They are 6 and 2.
6 and 2. Okay. You have your hands full.
Oof, you don't even know. I never sleep. I don't know what sleep is. That's the problem.
No. I saw a few little ones today. I was at the Friday prayer service and I was like, oh my gosh, I missed this age. And then I was like, no, I don't miss this age.
Yeah, exactly.
It's fun to be around them for a little while.
Yeah.
And then we send them back. Okay. What is one of your favorite books?
Oh my gosh. I just read a book that blew my mind. And I'm so bad with names, but I'm going to break out my Audible. I'm a huge Audible person right now. I'm all about Audible, but I just finished, where are you? There's another book. It's called, before I get to the other one, The Humor Habit. The Humor Habit was a short book. It was really something I needed because it's kind of like a stereotype that I'm like kind of serious, or like accountants or tax people or finance people are kind of serious. And it really talked about integrating humor into business. And I love how the author did it. Paul Ostenkopf. He is a comedian, and he did that, The Humor Habit. It was really good. So that book was fun and that I finished recently. Oh, Buy Back Your Time. This book blew my mind, by Dan Martell. It's honestly just, I'm literally implementing it. I'm listening to it again and taking notes. So what I do with a lot of the books, and I love business books. I'm just a total business person, like everything in my life. And I'm listening to Russell Brunson's Traffic Secrets right now. So it's just, that's my wish list. That's my list. I'm all about Audible right now.
Awesome. I have the Traffic Secrets. I've not started reading that yet. So that's definitely on my list. But I am going to check out both of these that you have recommended. Buy Back Your Time sounds very interesting. And I think I could definitely use The Humor Habit also, because I think I tend to get serious, even though I feel like I'm pretty, lighthearted, fun, but I think I also get like very intense. I think it must be like, passionate people. I think they just
Yes. Yeah, I'm passionate. Thank you.
Okay. Nailea, what is a pet peeve that you have? One of your pet peeves. Come on.
Random. Shaking your leg next to me. If you're next to me and you're shaking your leg uncontrollably, I'm like, stop. There's one.
Who does that?
My husband. You knew that answer. I feel like you could have guessed that.
Yes, but I wanted you to say that.
Okay, you just wanted me to say it. So then my husband sees this, he's gonna say, "Did you just say that out on the internet?"
So we're keeping it real. Okay. Nailea, if you had to explain about what makes you successful to someone you were mentoring, what would you say?
I love that. That's such a good question. the first thing that comes to my mind is what people consistently tell me about me is that drive is the my husband says that I have reality distortion, and I think that that's necessary for being successful, is manipulating your reality to be able to hone in on what you want and what you're going for. Like, just relentless, just be relentless. You know, I just don't let anything take me down, right? Just keep moving forward. You have hiccups, you do this, life slaps you around, you know, like, and you're just relentless. And that's what I think I would tell someone who's trying to be successful and continue to working on building their wealth. And I love to learn. I do everything relentlessly. I learn relentlessly. And I love relentlessly. So it's just, that's what I would say.
I love it. Thank you for sharing. I totally see that. I totally see that drive in you. I totally see that, even if something gets in the way, you take that, you look at that, and rather than like going around it, you're almost like, I'm going to go through it. I'm going to figure it out, and I'm going to be on the other side very, very quickly. And I love that.
Yeah. You got to pummel through things, not go around them. I definitely believe that for sure.
Yeah. I watched a reel recently where they were saying, like, just like our belief system, what we end up believing is like really our reality. And they're doing comparison of, the different sayings different people have said. One person would say one thing and another person would say the total opposite of that, and both work, but for different kinds of people, So they were saying, I think Arnold Schwarzenegger said, never have a plan B, like he's just like, go with whatever you're thinking. And then on the other side, right after that, they showed Warren Buffett said, always have a plan B.
Yeah. Yeah, it's whatever works for you. One of the things that I think has impacted my life greatly is from talking to counselors and doing all this stuff is that my hard is just as hard as your hard. Mm-hmm. And I can't compare my hard to your hard, right? Mm-hmm. I may have something terrible, horrible happening in my life, but could be, and what happening in your life, I could see it as that's not that bad, but to you, it could be the most horrible thing. So I've learned to let go of comparison and say my bad is just as bad as your bad. My good is just as good as your good. Whatever your measure is your measure. It's uncomparable. It's always apples and oranges.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. Okay, let's see. How do you want to be remembered?
Oh, my goodness. There is this quote that it's kind of funny. I just posted it on my Facebook, and I just learned about this quote, but and I looked up the person, and I thought he was a little much for me, but still the quote was pretty, because he was like this poet in the 1800s, and he was like really dramatic. His name is George Bernard Shaw, and I love this quote. I feel like it's so reverberates with me. It says, "This is the true joy in life, being used for purpose, recognized by yourself as a mighty one, being a force of nature instead of a feverish, selfish little clod of ailments and grievances, complaining that the world would not devote itself to making you happy. I am of the opinion that my life belongs to the whole community, and as long as I live, it is my privilege to do what I can. I want to be thoroughly used up when I die, for the harder I work, the more I live. I rejoice in life for its own sake. Life is no brief candle to me. It is a sort of splendid torch which I have got hold of for the moment, and I want to make it burn as brightly as possible before handing it on to future generations."
Oh my gosh.
That says everything to me.
I love that. It's so awesome. I love that. You have to send it to me. Is it posted on your Facebook?
Yeah, it's on my Facebook page. It's on my Facebook. It's like 2 days ago I posted it. I think this was poignant. The timing was so perfect for that to be introduced to me, for me to be on this podcast. I feel like it was meant to happen.
That's right. That's how things go. Okay. Yeah. Speaking of Facebook, I'm going to share your Facebook link. If anybody like to connect with you.
Yeah.
Is that where you hang out the most, Nailea?
Yeah, I hang out there. I like the comments on YouTube and whatnot. I have my Calendly everywhere. So if you ever want to chat with me directly, my Calendly is available to meet with me, to talk to me on the phone or video. I'm always ready to chat with people.
Okay. So could they find that link on sunflowerfinancials.com, your Calendly link?
Yeah.
Okay. Awesome. So I'm sharing that. I'm sharing your Facebook, and you also have your YouTube channel, right?
Yes.
I'm going to share that as
Which
well.
is my name, Nailea Large. Yeah.
Awesome. I'll share that as well. Okay. Nailea, anything else you would like to share?
I really appreciate the time with you. It's been it's fun to talk to you. So I appreciate that. And I love that we kind of talked about a little bit of everything, it feels like. But if anybody has any tax questions, I think this is a time of year that a lot of IRS notices are getting into people's hands. And I don't want people to freak out about that. I think that it's really important to understand that you should not get rid of those notices and keep them and give them to someone who can interpret it for you if you cannot interpret it yourself. That's really, really important. I don't want anyone to get in trouble for anything. So please reach out to professionals that can help you, and know that asking for help is not bad.
Mm-hmm. So. Awesome. Nailea, thank you so much. I know that you and I have known each other for a while, but we recently started working together. So I love asking, what was it that made you say yes to One Tech and getting a VA training through us?
So I am doing too many things. That's the simplest response, is that on a day-to-day, my task list is unachievable, completely unachievable. And so I need to learn and move forward into loading off. Like in the corporate world, I had teams of people and I was delegating left and right. What's up with me? I love delegating. It's one of the things I'm blessed with. And I just need to move on to the next level in my business. And I think that this is the right step for me to move into the next level. And my VA is someone that I very much trust. So I'm excited to move into that space with them.
Awesome. I am excited to just have you in my community and be working with you. We're going to get to see a lot of each other.
Yay.
Awesome. Nailea, thank you so much for taking the time and being here with us and sharing your expertise. I will be in touch some more. And in a few months, I feel like we should do another session and we talk about some other fun things, maybe after tax season when things slow down for you a little bit.
Yes, it has to be after April.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you.
Bye.
Bye.